The incident with George Floyd was constantly followed on all the TV channels, on the government channels, and almost all of the national level bloggers have blogged about it. And most of the people who had Russian TV channels were more active on this. So most of the people who had an access to Russian channels, they have been watching more about it. But I can say the reaction towards it was not as high as I've been following with my US friends, because one of the reasons is Uzbekistan does not have racial issues. We are multinational, but we are not a multiracial country. Maybe that was the reason that people could not really feel how the pain of what has happened with George Floyd. And if I compare this with any other global event, I compare this discrimination as to the times when I lived in China. I worked at Xinjiang Dashu in 2006, and I made friends with Chinese people, and I made friends with Uyghur people. And I could feel, as you know, this ethnical and cultural issues, the conflict is not very visible, but I could feel the pain or the suffering the Uyghur people had. They would tell me that all the positions, high positions, are taken only by Chinese people, and Uyghur people, even if they were very competent, it was hard for them to get in management system. So this I would compare with with a global event that I know. And if I come to Uzbekistan or our region, Fergana Valley, the ethnical or cultural conflict that is present in our system is, as I told you before, we are very multinational, and we have many nations who came to Uzbekistan during World War II. When I was younger, we used to have many Russians, Tatars, Korean people, Armenian people, almost all of the Soviet Union Republic nationalities were all living together, and they were very friendly. The atmosphere was very friendly. After Soviet Union, most of the people have left, but still in Uzbekistan right now we have around 5% Tajiks, Kazakhs. We also have Kyrgyz people and other nations. I can give an example of one community which is discriminated for many, many years. This community is called Lulis in Uzbekistan, or we also call them Mugats. The origin of this ethnical group is not really known. Some people say they came from some part of the Pakistan, and then they speak Tajik. And we don't know much about this ethnical group. And when we think or when we see these people, we usually really avoid them because in their identity we see mostly people who pick the garbage, or people who do pickpocketing and all the other activities like this. That's why mostly the people avoid them. You will never see any Lule community living together with Uzbeks. They usually have their own neighborhoods where they live, and then you never see their children attending our schools because they have their special school, and then even seeing them outside or using the same transportation with them is also a trouble, because most of the people, when they see this ethnic group in the transportation, they will either refuse taking the same transport, or there will be some conflict with it. What role our organization would play in dealing with this, with this conflict is, we are working on a project called Yoshstan. This is a new project. We'll have a kickoff next week. We haven't started yet, but this project will mainly focus on capacity building of youth society organizations in Andijan, in Fergana Valley, and also the local authorities in Andijan. So by helping them to get more effective and more inclusive society, we are thinking to empower youth and help the youth to get the leadership and get their issues to the government level. And by being a critical thinkers, they will be helping the community to deal with some of the problems we are facing in their communities. This project will also have sub-grants to civil society organizations, and they will be funding ideas that will be helping the community to grow and develop, and that will be helping with youth grievances. So my hope and my intention is that the group of youth will bring one of the ethnical problems to the view of government. And then I am hoping that one of the grants will be focusing on ethnical support of this group of people. It's not the government or only the people, it's also this ethnic group that most of them do not have even IDs. And most of them, when they go to school, they don't even have, their children don't have birth certificates. So I got to know about this ethnic group through one youth society organization in one of the conferences when we had with NGOs. There was a young guy, Alexander Barkovsky, who told more about this society. So in my perception, it was that this community does not want to be involved with us, and then they don't want to study, and then they chose easy life by digging garbage and making money by begging. But Alexander Barkovsky, he has a young guy. He had a project where he went into the communities of this Lulis or Mugats, and then he found out, and he interviewed many of the people, and he found out that they try to hide their identity, and then they don't really get the documents, just that so that to hide from the government. And also they were interviewed, and they said that they would really want their children to go to school and not to have the same life as they have. That's why that's why they were hoping that one day they would also be equally attending schools, and they would also be getting jobs as um, all other community people around them. And I also know that there was a project in Tashkent. As we know, most of these people are homeless. So in Tashkent, near the garbage areas, they have built small houses, and then they gave these houses to the people. So these people could live near the garbage, and they could help to um, to get the recycling stuff from the garbage and then just segregate the garbage into different parts. And for that, they get paid and they make money from the garbage. And at the same time, they had a house living places in Tashkent. This was one of the projects that the government had. But I think in helping these Mugads, the main issue would be for them also to understand and to come to an approach and be more open to get some help from people to be included in the community. And what would we or international organizations could help with this issue is most of the time this community is so hidden, or all the ethnical conflicts are so invisible that we don't really realize or we don't really see them. So I would suggest the activists or the people who do not have indifference in this to bring these issues out by blogging or by some projects so that people around could see and start to acknowledge all these problems. Because like even with Alexander Barkovsky's project, I didn't really pay much attention, and then when I talked to him, uh, I was really impressed by what he is doing. He is bringing by photos the life of Mugads, and he's showing the life of these people to other communities. So projects like this, or bloggings of these people's lives and their desires, their intentions of what people they are, what they're doing, what are their dreams. This should also be shown to the people so we could all feel that they are also people as us, and then they also have their plans, their intentions, and maybe this would help us to um, accept them and be more humanized towards them, and then see them as human beings. And my concluding message to the youth would be I really like Mahatma Gandhi's saying, be the change you want to see in the world. I think every one of us have control of ourselves only. So I would suggest to start the change and seeing all this from ourselves. So if you change your own perception and start to seeing positive, so looking for a positive, I'm sure if every person will start doing this, this world would be a much better place to live for all of us.